What is up there, movie fans? Welcome back to Mike and JuJu's Movie Corner, where first we partake and then we turn on the cameras for you guys and dive into the nostalgic cinematic pool of our youth. I am Mike, and beside me is my partner in film-related banter, JuJu.
Hey everyone, it's another day in the corner where we serve up a slice of cinematic heaven. Today we're going back to a time when the world was a bit more intense. Welcome to the 80s.
That's right, JuJu. Today we're going to talk about a film that had us all hiding under our beds, fearing that cold hand of communism. I am talking about that 1984 classic, Red Dawn, guys. Alright, so Red Dawn was directed by John Milius and starred a bunch of young actors who would go on to become Hollywood legends. We have Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, the beautiful Leah Thompson, and C. Thomas Howell, guys. It really was a story about a group of high school students who became guerrilla fighters when their town is invaded by the Soviet Union and Cuba.
Yeah, it's like The Outsiders meets The Breakfast Club with a dash of Rambo. This was the kind of movie that had us all playing Wolverines in the backyard with our friends.
Wolverines! Alright, though, let's break it down, guys. The film starts with a typical school day in a small town in Colorado. But things quickly go bad when parachutes start dropping from the sky.
It's the ultimate why isn't the teacher letting us go home kind of situation. And when they finally do, it's game over.
But in the scene where the parachutes drop, the teacher don't even make it out of that scene. So.
No.
He walks out there to talk to him and gets pew-pewed. Alright, but the movie really does set the stage for the chaos and the fear that follows. It was a wake-up call for a lot of kids our age, making us realize that our quiet lives weren't as safe as we thought it might be. Alright, so after the initial shock, the students, led by our heroes, brothers Jed and Matt Eckert, played by Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen, decide to take action. They retreat up to the mountains and they form a resistance group called the Wolverines.
The scene where they watch their town fall to the enemy is so intense, you really feel for these kids who have to grow up way too fast.
Now, this movie came out of the height of the Cold War, so it really was playing into the fears of the time. It was kind of like the cinematic equivalent of duck and cover drill.
But it was also one of the first to show teenagers in such a serious and violent situation. It was a bit of a cultural shock. But it also made us feel empowered, like we could take on the world if we had to.
Good thing we didn't have to.
Right.
Because life ain't movies. Alright, so it was definitely a movie that sparked a lot of debates about war, patriotism, and the lengths we would go to protect our home.
The action in Red Dawn is intense, even by today's standards. The guerrilla warfare scenes are pretty realistic, considering it's the 80s.
Hey, and let's not forget the iconic scene where they blow up that fuel depot. As a kid, that was extreme for sure.
And the final battle? Talk about going out with a bang. It's a testament to the spirit of the American teenager.
Sure, it was over the top, but hey, that's what makes it so much fun to watch. It was kind of like playing Red Army with all your homies back in the day, but you're doing it on the big screen. Beyond the action, Red Dawn is also a coming-of-age story about friendship, sacrifices, and that ever loss of innocence.
It really hits you when you see these kids transform from teenagers to soldiers. The scene where they had to execute the traitor is heart-wrenching.
Definitely. And the brotherhood between the characters, especially between Patrick Swayze's character Jed and Charlie Sheen's character Matt, who play actual brothers in the movie, is one for the ages.
Yeah. It's a brotherhood that can make even the most stoic viewer shed a tear. Plus, the whole Wolverines chant is like the yippee-ki-yay of our generation.
That's right. Alright, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it, but the ending is a real tearjerker.
The sacrifice that's made it is so powerful. It's a bittersweet victory, really. They win, but at what cost?
All right, so with that said, the film leaves us with a sense of hope, though. The Wolverines might be down, but their spirit lives on. It really is a powerful message about fighting for what you believe in. Red Dawn has had a lasting legacy, inspiring other films and even that remake in 2012. But let's be honest, guys, nothing can top the original.
No, I can't. It's one of those movies that's become a rite of passage for teenagers. It's like watching The Goonies or The Karate Kid.
It's also one of those films that you can watch over and over and over again and still get fired up every time you hear that music. What is your favorite moment of Red Dawn?
Hands down, it's when they're hiding in the school and they find that one of their teachers has been KIA. The gravity of the situation hits you like a ton of bricks.
Definitely. For me, the scene where the kids are talking to their parents through the fence, when Jed and Matt are talking to their dad and they got to leave, the dad yells out, "Boys, avenge me! Avenge me!" I mean, it's really intense and it does set the tone for the rest of the movie.
And the quotes, Wolverines, we're going to live like Americans, and I'll give you a war you won't believe.
Definitely. Definitely great quotes. But do not forget when Colonel Tanner is dying and he says, "Come on, buddies. Come and get him. Shoot straight for once, you army pukes." Iconic.
Yeah.
Now, this movie wasn't without its controversy, though, especially in the way it portrayed the Soviet Union and its soldiers. In a time that we were in a Cold War and trying to make great relations with another country, supposedly, it did kind of come off, I'm sure, a certain way to Russia, maybe.
It was definitely a product of its time, but it's important to remember that it's just a movie. It's not a history lesson.
That's right. All right, so it really is interesting to look back on it now and see how much has changed in the world since then. The Cold War is over now, but the themes of fighting for your country and standing up against tyranny, they'll always be relevant, I think.
Speaking of the cast, look at the careers that were launched from this film. We've got Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, and Leah Thompson all going on to do amazing things.
Definitely. And let's not forget about the supporting cast like Jennifer Grey, who we all know went on to do Dirty Dancing with Patrick Swayze, and
William Smith
played the chilling Soviet commander, Lieutenant Colonel Strelnikov.
And the soundtrack by Basil Poledouris is so epic, it really ties in the movie to the world of war.
Yeah, it really does add to the intensity of the film, JuJu. Well, y'all, that's our look back at Red Dawn. Thanks for joining us on this trip down memory lane. What's your favorite action movie, JuJu?
Oh, that's tough. But I'll have to say Predator is up there for me.
I should have known. That's a classic one. So maybe in the future we'll cover Predator in future episodes. Until then, though, keep watching, keep fighting, guys, and keep those Wolverine chants coming. Wolverines! All right, peace.